At the time of this recording, HTML version 4 had been around for over a decade. In this time, the World Wide Web has really evolved. New and innovative websites are being created every day, pushing the boundaries of HTML in every direction and really necessitating the need to upgrade the core markup language of the web to the next major revision, HTML5. HTML5 will eventually become the standard format of the World Wide Web. The standard is being defined by the W3C group. Since 2004, an independent working group has been working to define a standard format for the web and to replace both HTML4 and XHTML while maintaining backwards compatibility. More specifically, HTML5 is the proposed next standard for HTML 4.01, XHTML 1.0, and the DOM or DOM Level 2 HTML. Yet HTML5 defines an HTML syntax that will be completely compatible with HTML4. The ideas behind HTML5 were originally part of a working spec from the Web Hypertext Application Technology Working Group, abbreviated WHATWG, dating from June 2004 under the name Web Applications 1.0. Work on HTML5 proper began in 2004 and is currently being carried out in a joint effort between a variety of key players, including representatives from the four major browser vendors, Apple, Mozilla, Opera, and Microsoft, as well as a range of other organizations and individuals with many diverse interests and expertise. The first public working draft of the spec was published on January 22, 2008, and introduces APIs for audio, graphics, and video, interactive document editing, and the maintenance of persistent client-side data storage. The spec is an ongoing work and is expected to remain so for many years, although parts of HTML5 are going to be finished and implemented in browsers before the whole spec reaches a final recommendation status. Currently, the spec, which I have open here at the w3.org website, there's the address right there. It exceeds 500 pages, and one can expect that the final version will be even bigger. HTML5 is aimed at web pages and web applications. Remember, the definition was actually called Web Application 1.0 before getting changed to HTML5 in order to better position it as a successor to HTML4. Although it is still going to be a very slow transition away from HTML 4.01 and XHTML 1.0, HTML5 is expected to be a game changer in the web application development and will transcend HTML's markup language roots in a big way. The W3C has taken the best parts from the various web technologies and rolled them into what is being dubbed the most powerful markup language to date. HTML5 will give web designers more flexibility and interoperability and add features to enable the creation of more interactive and exciting websites and applications. It'll introduce a whole new set of elements that make it much easier to structure pages, with the added hope being that it will also make obsolete such plug-in-based rich internet application technologies such as Adobe Flash, Microsoft Silverlight, or Sun Java FX, all obsolete. Yet opinion is still divided about HTML5. One reason is that it is much more than just a markup syntax for documents like HTML4 is. One clue is in the working group's original name before it was brought to the W3C camp, Web Hypertext Application Technology Working Group. The original goal for HTML5 was to make it easier to develop web applications. Let me now go over some of the highlights of this new HTML5 specification. HTML5 now includes new structural tags header, nav, section, article, aside, and footer that will make it possible to divide or subdivide a document into semantic parts with more meaningful elements like I've done here in this diagram. One obvious benefit built into HTML5 is the numerous APIs. API stands for Application Programming Interface, and the opportunities this will open up for future web applications. The coolest part about HTML5 is perhaps its offline capabilities. Programs like Thunderbird and Gmail, to a lesser extent, let you browse through your old data while staying offline. With HTML5, you'll have this same functionality, but in the browser. This is the first serious step towards bridging the gap between the desktop and the web, and will open up all sorts of doors for future web applications. The new video and audio tags will make it super easy to embed video or audio on a web page without requiring plugins like Flash or QuickTime. Attributes are also available to start, stop, and autoplay the video and the audio. Another new feature is the canvas. This is a background on which one can draw graphic elements such as rectangles, Bezier curves, and arcs. On the canvas, one can perform transformations of these graphics such as scaling, rotating, and translating. Another exciting development in HTML5 involves improvements in the area of web forms. New capabilities include auto-validation of required fields, data types such as email, URLs, and any other pattern without JavaScript, and setting the autofocus, and much, much more. So the big questions are, will HTML5 succeed HTML4, and if so, when? The good news is that its definition is supported by major actors on the web, including Apple, Mozilla, and Opera. However, at the time of this recording, Microsoft does not fully support HTML5, and its Internet Explorer browser is still the most popular web browser in the world by a large margin. On the other hand, the author of the HTML5 definition has become employed by Google, so the presence not declared but implicit of Google can carry quite a bit of weight. Its interest will be in HTML5, while the interest of Microsoft would be to promote its Silverlight technology. The future will no doubt bring changes, but at the time of this recording, the prognosis looks pretty good that HTML5 will indeed replace HTML4 as the next web standard. These browsers already partially support elements of HTML5, including Firefox 3, Chrome, and Safari. If you download and install the Google Chrome Frame plugin, it lets IE emulate Chrome, thereby getting a lot of the Chrome features that do support HTML5 working in Internet Explorer. So I will be reviewing the more important and interesting new features in HTML5 in this tutorial. But right now, let's move on to the next movie and review some HTML for creating your first simple web page.